UFC 249. And we will get into UFC. And you're going to say, why are we talking about UFC 249 when there is UFC 248 that to get into? But right now, the press conference is going on right now. Let's tune in right now with Khabib and Ferguson.
Conditioning for 11 rounds. Doesn't
Hey,
matter
shut
what
up.
opponent.
I don't talk with you.
I don't talk to you either, dirty
No.
Q-tip. Fucking fat.
We already
You're about the
offered,
same size as like Cormier right now, dude.
like, we have option, we already offered
No bullshit. Why are you talking boxing? I'm right here, dude. You're
$100
gonna get
million
outboxed
to
out
fight
there.
with him in the Middle East.
Fuck that shit.
We have offered,
You need to work. You need to focus on one motherfucker.
And I think it's gonna
I'm
be
being
big
real, dog. Just wait till the phone call. You ain't gonna have one fucking word to say.
fight. And I think Mayweather, he is a very big name. He's very big name, And right now I have big name too, and we can fight, but we need like
Really big name. Khabib
11
Nurmagomedov.
round box, 1 round MMA. Let's go. I'm ready.
Thanks, Khabib. For Tony, I just wanted to ask you, you're wearing gloves, and I think you have a baseball with you. Any reason for that?
I told you I'm a fucking hitman.
And there's a baseball there? Any
Just in
significant?
case they run.
All right. And then just lastly for Dana, South by Southwest, the music and arts festival got canceled today because of the coronavirus outbreak. Any concerns? Anything that you guys can do to try to? Hey, it's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate question.
Corona's cool, but Montejo's better.
Legitimate question. I mean, it's got to be a little bit of a concern, right, for any big event.
So when it comes to safety of the athletes and the fans and everything else, no matter where we go or what we do, we're always concerned with that. And we've been thinking about this for weeks. Dr. Davidson's been involved, and yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that.
You said on your
We're not canceling the event.
Well, no, I'm not. I didn't say that. Never said that. You said on Instagram Live about an hour ago that you guys are pinpointing Jones versus Reyes too. Is that the case? And do you have
What I said was I'm interested in that fight. I think that's the fight that should happen. Jones Reyes 2 should happen. But we haven't done anything to make that fight. There's been nothing done.
So no timetable or anything
No.
like that for that. And you also said that Paulo Costa is definitely next for the Adesanya Romero win.
As long as he's healthy, he's next.
And has he given any indication when he could be back?
He wanted to come back now. He's not a doctor. When the doctor tells us he's ready, then we'll do it.
That is Dana White right now. He's talking live at UFC 248, introducing the big fight that everybody's been waiting for years, Khabib versus Ferguson. And before we get into UFC 248, I want to get into this fight. And you heard Ferguson, and Ferguson is one of those guys that he doesn't bow down to anybody. Everybody thinks he's a little bit of crazy. Everything that happened over the last couple of months, really the last year, you were hearing some stories that he got out of the car, he ran across the street, ran away from his kid, that there's aliens going to attack the world. I mean, this fight has been, people have been waiting for this fight for years. Anthony, when you think of Khabib and you think of Ferguson, we understand the greatness of what Khabib is, and we saw what he did against Conor McGregor. He completely choked him out, and then he was suspended for almost 9 months with no pay from the UFC. Your thoughts right now of what Ferguson said on the little clip of this press conference right now at UFC 249?
I mean, one thing about Ferguson when it comes to his matchups and such, he's not going to cower away from anything. He's not going to cower away from the opponent, which you just saw. He's not going to show any intimidation, and a lot of times he's not going to give anybody any respect. He's going to have them show that type of respect in the ring. And I'm expecting this to go one of a couple of ways. If this is a real chess match and it comes to the point of it's going to be wrestler on wrestler, this could be a 5-round to the casual fan snooze fest. Mm-hmm. But if this is going to end, I think it's going to be in a transition scramble. You're going to have a lot of the displays of freestyle wrestling in this. I don't see this going to be a stand and bang. Maybe it might for the first couple of seconds or whatnot before somebody's going to shoot in, try to get somebody down, ground and pound. Obviously, I think the submissions, even though Ferguson does have submissions. I think submissions are probably going to be a little bit more on the side of Khabib, where Ferguson's going to have more of the, ground and pound style. He's going to go for push him up against the cage, try to get him down on one knee, seat belt him, try to pop him from the side and everything with knees, elbows, and such. And, I mean, we've been waiting for this for a long time.
We have.
We
We
have been waiting this for a long
absolutely
time.
have. As you guys know, you can call us at 631-965-4990. My new partner, Anthony Anderosi and Errol Marks. We're here at the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, and we're live and in color here at the studios in Caged In MMA. And I have to get that roll off my tongue until I get used to it, because it used to be Caged In MMA. And it's interesting when you think of Khabib and you think of what he has done really in the UFC in such a short time. He's only been in the UFC for about 5 years, and he's completely dominated as a professional fighter. He's an undefeated fighter. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's 23-0, and he's been completely dominant. And I understand a lot of people want to see Khabib and McGregor, and I believe you will see that fight. And we're going to get into the fights that are going to be coming up at UFC 240, I think 252, with Conor McGregor and obviously Usman, who's going to be on that card as well. Two big fights on one card, the main event and the co-main event. We'll get into that in a little bit. But when you think of Khabib, you think of a guy that is a great wrestler, and he has a lot to say. The last couple of years, this guy has a lot to say, and the whole McGregor thing, and I think he's learning a little bit from McGregor that you have to speak up if you want to sell a fight. This is a problem that Demetrius Thomas had a problem with. Mighty Mouse, you guys know all about him. He was a bantamweight. I think he was a bantamweight champion, and the guy, to me, didn't sell his product. He didn't sell what he was producing out there, and he was one of the best fighters in the world. But the UFC couldn't sell it because he couldn't sell himself to the other fans, or the fans that love the sport and follow the sport as much as they follow Conor McGregor or John Jones. When you look at these fighters now, when you talk about Ferguson and you talk about Khabib, these guys are trying to get into that hoop, or that name thought, where you think about Ferguson, McGregor, John Jones, and all the fighters that we've seen, the Fedors, and the guys that were the top fighters of their class, the Randy Couture's, the Chuck Liddells, the Matt Hughes, the GSPs. These guys, and I believe Ferguson and Khabib are right there. They got to learn how to promote their product. Ferguson has been proven to be a crazy guy. He's a nut job. And the stories that are coming out from not only from his camp, but from all different camps, is this guy is no joke. And this fight has been promoted for years. These guys were supposed to fight not once, not twice, but 3 times. And all 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, the stories came out of Khabib camp that he was dehydrating. I think he had a hurt ankle or a hurt foot on one of the fights, and that's why they canceled the fight. I look at this fight, and I'm hoping that this fight actually happens, because I remember the last time they were supposed to fight 2 years ago, the week before the fight, Khabib dropped out because of dehydration. He was rushed to the hospital, and we never saw this fight again. And these two guys, when you talk about Conor McGregor and you talk about Nate Diaz and you talk about these two guys, these are the 4 big guys in that weight class, the 170, 155 weight class. And you look at what the UFC is trying to sell and what the UFC is trying to bring to light as far as fights are concerned. This is a big fight, because this is going to prove who's the next guy up to fight Conor McGregor. Is it Khabib McGregor 2? Or is it Ferguson McGregor 1? And that's why when I look at this particular fight and you think of all the fights that you can match up or try to match up, this is the fight, Anthony, everybody's looking forward to.
Well, we've been waiting for this for quite a while, like we've said before. And ultimately, I think this is the perfect opportunity for people other than McGregor, other than the same fighters that are marketing themselves, marketing the UFC. And this is a big opportunity. The UFC can only do so much by putting them on the countdown shows or whatnot. They're going to have to show a little bit of themselves. They're going to have to show their personality. They're going to have to show that not just the fighters, but they're going to have to go back in regards to the business and sell a little bit better. Now, you see it with Khabib right now. You saw it on the press conference. How many times have you seen in the press conferences where he'd be sitting there just smiling, letting people talk, This is the point where he's taking the opportunity to say, listen, I've beaten everybody you put in front of me just decisively, without question, without argument. I'm the champ. I'm not going to sit here and take it anymore. I'm not going to sit here and take it from the fighters. I'm not going to sit here and take it by the public. You know what I mean? And all the criticism in regards to, he doesn't say anything. He's quiet. It's silent assassin type thing.
It's the quiet ones that you have to be scared of.
But what happens when you get them agitated? And
you saw what happened with McGregor. You saw what happened with McGregor after the fight, how he went after the team and he went after the fans. He had no problem saying what he felt after the fight, and he got suspended for almost a year from the UFC. You haven't seen Khabib in the ring for almost a year. And that, when you look at that, and you look at this guy is the top fighter right now in the UFC. I'm talking about he is the big dog. I don't want to hear about John Jones. I don't want to hear about this is the guy that everybody wants to beat. This is the guy that everybody wants to fight. And you want to know something? Even Mayweather has come out and said that he's willing to fight Khabib in a boxing match for $100 million. So everybody wants to fight this guy because this guy has never lost a fight. He's never even come close to losing a fight. And he's really a magician when it comes to wrestling. But is this guy worthy enough to get into the ring against one of these guys like Ferguson, who's a striker? He could also take you down. He could also beat you on the ground and pound you. And he's a great Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist. I think he's a black belt. So this is a thing now that you look at. This might be a worthy opponent for Khabib. I think he has a better chance of beating Khabib than Conor McGregor did.
This could possibly, depending on which way this goes, this could be not the first time we see this at all. This could be one of those rematches turned into a trilogy, quite frankly. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm looking to see after this fight what happens, especially. So, but when it's all said and done, you know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
All right. We have a first caller of the day. Welcome to Caged MMA. I know this guy. It's his birthday. And happy birthday, Eric. How are you?
Thank you very much.
How
you doing?
I know you're looking forward to the fights. And Eric is a big boxing guy. And he is the almanac of boxing. If anybody wants to know anything about boxing, this is the guy to talk to. He's 40 years old. Happy 40th birthday. But
thank you.
Let me ask you this question. I don't know if you're watching the press conference right now. Khabib and Ferguson, everybody is looking forward to this fight. And this fight is coming up April 14th? Oh, 18th. April 18th. What are your thoughts about this particular fight? I know you know who Khabib is. You know he choked out Conor McGregor. What are your thoughts to both fighters? Both fighters are good wrestlers. Both guys can stand up. Looking at this fight, where do you see this fight going?
Man, I don't know. It's hard to go against Khabib. He's awesome. He really is.